it's completely blown my mind how far this has progressed and how much it has come to be a part of my life.
Welcome to More Than an Inmate's Girlfriend. You guys, what a week it has been. What a week. But we are here. I have a few updates to give you. I guess we'll start with the non-podcast related updates. So the first one is for anyone who's following my story with my husband. We are currently banned from all communication due to the release of this podcast. There is a civil suit ongoing where we have sued the prison because we have not broken any policies in him being on the podcast. And essentially what they're doing is retaliatory. Anyways, long story short, we filed the complaint. They came back and said to dismiss it to the judge. The judge did not dismiss it. So that happened a couple weeks ago. That was a huge win on our part because it means that the judge does see value in our complaint. And the lawyer of the state, so the state attorney, one of the people, came to see our lawyer during business hours to discuss a settlement. I should preface this by saying I believe our lawyer sent out a letter basically saying, let's settle and give them access. The initial offer is laughable, to say the least. They said to keep messaging and phone restrictions in place until October of 2026, and a review of my visitation, both in person and video, in February of 2027. In no way, shape, or form would I concede to any sort of continued restriction for something that I didn't do. You've already conceded that I didn't break a policy. So why are you forcing continued restriction? No. The answer is no. I would like certain things. I don't know that I would get them. I hope that I will. It's probably for the best if I don't say what I really want, but regardless, I think we countered with immediate restrictions removed on everything except for the video visit until May, because I had gone on a video visit with Nick through his mom a couple months back and I got a restriction on that. So that is a broken policy, correct? Correct. So we can agree what's a policy that's broken deserves time restricted. Absolutely. I agree. When you don't break a policy, you can't just do what you did. That's not okay. So I'll keep you updated on what's happening there, but there might be an opportunity for me to see him, hopefully sooner rather than later. We'll see what their response is. The next update is podcast related and social media related. So AJ is no longer a part of the podcast. We do wish her all the best, but for certain reasons, I will be continuing it on by myself. So wish me luck. But as a result of that, she has taken the social media for the Instagram. So the Instagram tag that we have been using, podcast_prisongf, doesn't exist anymore. But for the moment, it is currently at Inmate Girlfriend. So you can still follow me, and I would appreciate it if you logged into your device as we speak right now, go into the Instagram and follow me so that I can get back to where we were with everyone who listens to the podcast following, or some people, right? So slowly but surely we'll build that back up, and I'm not too worried about it. It's been an adventure learning social media a little bit better because I didn't do it previously. And then reaching out to guests is another thing. So if you need to speak to me, it's no longer through AJ. I'm on all the social media. So those are the two things that are changing. And you can send me an email. It's j@morethaninmatesgirlfriend.com. So JAE@morethaninmatesgirlfriend.com. You can also go on the website, morethaninmatesgirlfriend.com. You can go on social media. You can reach me any way, shape, or form. There's lots of different ways. So if you have any questions, concerns, comments, please do so. I love hearing from you guys, and please give me some grace when we get a lot of messages. I do have multiple projects on the go. So yes, with that, let's talk about the next 3 weeks of the podcast. Very cool 3 weeks. I just finished recording the third week, but essentially we're taking a little bit of a dive into the pen pal situations and her perspective, his perspective, and then an expert perspective, quote unquote expert. I mean, I don't think it's an official title, but if anyone deserves one, it's her. So this week we're talking to Anna, who is a pen pal to Ricky, who is incarcerated. And we will hear from Ricky next week. The following week after that, we will hear from Erica, who runs a pen pal page and has experience on both sides of the coin with topics and issues that she's come across. So very cool perspective. Anna this week talks about who she is, like what kind of person writes someone in prison. Let's talk about her. So very cool episodes, very light and fluffy, very nice. And then next week we'll get into Ricky, who talks a little bit about his life. And it intertwines with a series that we're starting that I haven't named yet on incarcerated individuals who talk about how they landed where they landed. I don't care about your crime. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not God. I do care about how you landed where you landed. What circumstances led you to where they are. And Anna makes some really good points in this interview about that and her perspective. And so does Erica in the week after Ricky's. We're going on a little bit of a dive here, but we're also looking at a series where you will hear from incarcerated individuals more to learn more about how someone can end up where they are. Let's not talk about the crime. There's lots of true crime podcasts out there that you can learn. There's lots of articles and stuff that you can read. But I want to learn from that person about why they are where they are. And Ricky had some really great insights. And we actually had some breakthroughs, him and I, on that interview. So I look forward to you guys hearing it. But anyways, that's it. We have started receiving orders from the gift catalog. So thank you so much for everyone who's supporting. Please go to the website to order yourself a free catalog while it remains free. The code is now J-A-E. It's not J and AJ anymore for obvious reasons. So get yourself a catalog, get it ordered. We have more going out this week, and we're just excited that people love it so much, and we've gotten such great feedback. So I hope that your loved one has received it. I hope they like it. And if there's any problems or issues, please reach out. And with that, I will let you go to the first episode of the series on pen pals with Anna. Take care. Bye. Hi, Anna. Thank you so much for coming on today and talking to me about your pen pal experience.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited about this. I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's going to be so fun. I love that you grew up in Canada. Do you want to just talk to me a little bit about your childhood and what you were like as a kid to start?
Yeah, so originally I am from Toronto, Ontario, and I lived there until I was about 4 years old. My parents had a condo down there because they both worked down there. Okay. And they also had a farm out in the boondocks. My dad's childhood dream was to be up in the country. So when I was younger, they made the official call to move up here permanently. And that's how I was raised. Small town life for sure. Country, bonfire, all that type of stuff. Bounced around a few different cities in southern Ontario. Still very small town vibe. And recently I moved home and I live very close to my parents. I like the privacy and the calm of the country for sure.
Yeah, I get the small town living aspect. What kind of kid were you? Were you adventurous?
Oh boy. My mom had us in everything. Her mindset then, and very much so now, is like she wanted us to be able to have different experiences, do different kinds of things, embrace the world as a kid, I guess. So swimming lessons, skating lessons, extracurricular at school.
I love it. So it sounds like it was a very normal upbringing.
I would say that we were a little bit more privileged, I think, because if we showed interest in it, she would do anything to support us. And it wasn't like it had to be local either. Both of my parents were driving us all over Timbuktu. She wanted us to meet different people from different walks of life. So I was all over the place as a kid. When I got into high school, that was a totally different experience for me. I got to explore my interests and my passions, and I have created a lot of lifelong friends from high school in areas that I really care about.
And what would you say were some of your dreams and goals as a kid?
I've always liked psychology. My friend and I, we used to get old textbooks and read them just to learn about why people do the things that they do, or different
Cool.
things going on in people's minds, anything like that. We always wanted to know why. When I was a kid, my mom had always said that one of my favorite books was How Things Work. You were always asking why. It wasn't just, hey, Anna, you can't do that. It'd be like, why can't I do that?
Yeah. My mom said the same thing. So funny. We were the
That's
annoying
great.
kids. My mom said when she tried to teach me what God was, she gave up. She was just like, forget it. Because I was like, what do you mean? But why? But what do you mean? And she was like, okay, I give up. We're done. We're not talking about God ever again.
It was the exact same thing because I did Bible study when I was a kid, and I used to sit there and just terrorize the poor pastor, asking him all my questions. But I think he enjoyed it.
That's
Exactly.
awesome. And I'm asking you all of these questions to kind of get a base of who you are and what you were like, because I think the biggest question that people have, or one of the biggest questions when it comes to prison, pen pals, and talking to someone who's incarcerated is what kind of person would go and find a pen pal that's incarcerated of all places. So it's interesting to hear that you were just a regular kid who always questioned things and was curious, but you weren't exposed to it from a
But
young, or it sounds like you weren't.
not in the slightest. If anything, it was the opposite.
Okay.
I have a vivid memory of when I was a kid in public school, and they were doing this presentation with puppets that like don't do drugs.
Okay.
And I just remember thinking to myself, I'll never touch a cigarette, I'll never touch weed, I'll never touch alcohol, right?
Yeah.
And then now I look at myself and I'm like, oh, if only little Anna could see me now. My parents were very straight and narrow, no shortcuts, no excuses, no anything like that. And there was no leeway morally to do anything not right. But they were always very accepting.
Okay.
So I couldn't stay out too late. I couldn't just go wherever I wanted to. Parties weren't a thing.
Oh.
I remember when all the other kids were going to dances or staying overnight for sleepovers or stuff like that. I was the kid that couldn't go. My parents wouldn't say yes. They'd be like, you don't know what you're going to run into. We don't know these people. You're not going. So I was raised with rules and regulations for sure until I hit maybe 16, 17, got my first job and started to hang out with people that had a driver's license. And it was like this whole new freedom for me. I was like, this is great. My parents can't control me.
And they couldn't?
And they didn't kick me out. No offense to my parents. But they basically were like, if you want to show up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning with people just dropping you off, if you want to go out after work, if you want to do this, if you want to do that, then you're not staying here, because that's not how it works in our house. You're waking us up, you're waking the dogs up. This isn't fair to us because we need to work. So I had actually moved in for a short period of time with one of my friends, waited for stuff to cool down with my parents,
Yeah.
and then went back home and was like, okay, I'm sorry. I was just trying to have some fun.
Right.
Everything was good for a bit, and then I ended up moving out for the first time and never looked back at 21.
Oh, wow. And that was a whole new world?
It was a whole new set of freedom because I could come and go as I pleased. It was great, and it was nice because I didn't have to worry about waking anyone up or being disruptive or anything like that. It was like I can run by my own schedule, very independent. I enjoy this. And the independent, that part I've never looked back on.
Cool. Did you know much about the American justice system at that time?
No, I had taken a very small law class in high school, and one of my friends, her dad was in corrections here in Canada.
Oh.
So I had heard stories a little bit that way, especially because she was doing her police foundations in school. So if I was ever over at her house, she was working on something. Her dad was there, but nothing with America, no.
So how did you get involved with pen pals then?
One of my good friends was gone on vacation to Cuba.
Okay.
And we had done an awful lot of texting back and forth, like any small updates that were going on throughout the day, we were talking. but he didn't have internet in Cuba unless he was in his hotel room at the resort.
Okay.
And so I started watching the Netflix show Unlocked, I think it's called.
Oh, yeah.
Where they unlock everyone in the 23-in-1 and they have to build their own community.
Yeah.
And then I saw that they had tablets. And I was like, wait, I don't need to write them. I don't need to give them my address. Because I can be a little bit of a cheapo. I didn't ever want to pay for a P.O. box to be able to write somebody. And I didn't ever want to give someone my home address.
Right.
But when I saw that they had the tablets, I thought that was kind of cool. On my Instagram, I had the reels coming up for the pen pal videos a couple times before.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, this is real. I messaged one of my friends, asked her if she wanted to do it with me. And we tried to reach out to a few different people.
Okay.
We didn't get a response from some of them. Another man had replied to me and said that he had a girlfriend, appreciated it, but no thank you. And we were sending them back and forth, choosing people for each other.
No.
And obviously it wasn't working out. So I was perusing everyone on the pen pal page myself. And right before I was about to walk into work, I was like, I'm choosing this one. We'll see if it works. I like him the best. I feel like we would get along the best. I added him. I walked into work, sat down at my desk, whatever, started to type away at my computer. And I'm like, okay, I should probably send a message, introduce myself. So I went to go check my phone. There was already a message, and it was like, hey, I just noticed a new contact, just reaching out. Tell me about yourself. And the rest is history.
No way. Okay, first of all,
Yep.
Hilarious that you just messaged a friend and was like, hey, want to talk to incarcerated guys with me?
That's my life. That's my life, though. I always got something on the go.
And what did she say? Yeah?
Oh, yeah. She's like, hell yeah. Sign me up. How do we do this?
No. That is
Yeah.
amazing. I literally don't know anyone that I could have messaged and been like, hey, want to do this? Like, no. No.
I got another one of my friends to do it, too. And he started reaching out and talking to people as well.
Oh my gosh. This is hilarious.
Yeah.
And did your friend have success? Just out of curiosity?
The first person that she was talking to didn't end very well. He wasn't that great of a person.
Okay.
It was fishy, I guess. So the person that I talked to had a friend and was like, hey, if you want someone to talk to that is trustworthy and reliable, go ahead. We can set this up. So it's like, okay, perfect. They started to talk and they became close. But eventually, I think it was maybe for roughly about a year.
Oh, wow.
And eventually she was, I need something here. I need someone to talk to here. This is an awful lot of money. This is an awful lot of time, because it's hard when everything that you do costs, like the phone calls, the messages, the video visits, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So she was like, I need to focus on me and my job and my career, and I appreciate this. Maybe we'll keep in contact, but she moved on.
Right, fair. So just to be clear, you've never interacted with someone incarcerated before? Never had a pen pal?
Until now, no.
And this is a whole new experience.
I have had people in my life that have been to prison prior here in Canada. So I had a little bit of experience and background that way, but never had a pen pal. This is the first time, just out of the blue.
Crazy. And why did you choose US instead of Canada?
I would just say that's what was marketed to me.
Right.
I didn't even know that. I still don't know, actually, if it's something that I can do in Canada.
Right.
Do they have the tablets in Canada?
No, they don't. They don't. But they have a website, apparently.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I forget what it's called, but there is one. But it's not as well marketed, obviously, as the US pen pal system.
No.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say made you decide to keep going when your friend was like, no, this is not for me?
This might sound bad, but I've honestly come to rely on him. Best friends, I guess.
Yeah.
Someone to talk to that I feel I really have that connection with. If anything interesting happens in my life, I want to tell him.
Yeah.
His input. He's been insanely helpful with stuff that has been going on in my life. Very supportive. He ended up talking to my sister as well. Those two are close.
Oh, wow.
She went up to school in Sudbury, and she was living on residence, and she had messaged him about it. She was like, I feel like this is probably how you feel, being stuck in this institution. I'm not a gigantic fan of half of these people. There's nothing else that I can do. They bonded over that for a little bit.
That's funny.
When my parents were going through some things and they were leaning on me, I was leaning on him.
Right.
And it's just different than somebody out here, I feel like, because there's a different type of connection, if that makes sense.
And is that what surprised you the most about the pen pal situation?
Yeah, I didn't walk into this thinking that it was going to turn into the way that it has whatsoever. It's completely blown my mind how far this has progressed and how much it has come to be a part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
There's not one person in my life that doesn't know about him.
Wow.
Bosses, coworkers, friends, parents, relatives, whomever. And they've all adapted to that very well. My mom, for example, she does an awful lot of reading with books and learning and growing and feelings and
Cool.
all that type of stuff, emotions. And if she comes across anything interesting, she's like, hey, send this to him. He might like it. So it's just a great support system that I have that he also now has in a way as well.
My friend Jay created more than an inmate's girlfriend's gift catalog, specifically for incarcerated individuals to order gifts at reasonable prices for their loved ones at home. If you go to morethananinmatesgirlfriend.com, you can order the catalog. And if you use the code JAE at checkout, you can actually get it sent for free. Please make sure you enter your loved one's name and shipping information so it can be sent directly to them following most prison policies. Love and appreciation does not stop when someone is incarcerated. Send your loved one a catalog today.
Were you surprised that your family reacted so well?
I think my sister expects this out of me.
That's what my mom said about me. That's funny.
My mom has always been insanely accepting of anything because I have been in some other interesting relationships and stuff like that, and she is just always accepted. And that's definitely what she tried to teach us as a kid as well, because my ex-boyfriend was incarcerated up here in Canada for a certain amount of time, and I had told her about that. I said, hey, just so you know, this is what's going on. I don't know how to support him. Do you have any suggestions? And I hope you don't judge him for this. Here is his story. And she was open arms and understood what he had gone through, the struggles.
Wow.
And was always there to support both me and him, even though my ex actually had no idea that she knew, because he was very scared that both her and my dad were going to judge him.
Right.
So he had no idea, but she supported nonetheless.
That's so nice. I think sometimes, like, even for me, in my experience, sometimes people surprise us and we think people would judge or would think badly or whatever. And then you realize that a lot of people are open-minded in the world. There are a lot of people that are closed-minded, but there is a lot of people that aren't. And it sucks that there's this fear sometimes, especially around incarceration. I've had similar experiences. My mom, I swear my husband is her favorite out of anyone that I've ever dated. And he's locked up for life. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy.
I actually agree with that. She was originally a little bit, are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, meet him.
Yeah.
See what I see, and then go from there. Because there was a little bit of skepticism, and then they met each other, and it's smooth sailing, totally fine.
Aw. And when you compare it to other relationships that you've ever had with people, do you find that there's such a big difference with pen pals versus regular people in the world?
I would say, from looking at everything as a whole, that it can be both easier and harder at the same time.
Okay.
So I would say easier because you have to build that connection through talking, communication. That's the only way that you're going to get to know somebody. Asking questions and seeing what somebody likes, what somebody dislikes. Do you get along? Is this somebody that you want to have in your life as a positive support, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes I feel like in a world where we're very connected through a text message where it means nothing just to fire off an LOL or a laughing emoji, that's not really a response, right?
Yep.
But when it comes to prison, pen paling, everything matters. So it's 25 cents to send that message, or that phone call actually costs money. So you're really trying to build that within the financial restraint, I find, as well.
Yeah.
And I would say it can be negative because it's so easy to misunderstand sometimes what is being said.
Yeah.
There have been certain times where he said something I've interpreted one way, and I'm like, what is going on right now? And it can start a little bit of an argument or a disagreement, or vice versa. I'll say something and it might spike his anxiety, or I may have not communicated clearly what I was trying to get at, and then it just causes a little disagreement. So that way can be hard because you don't have the luxury of face-to-face interaction. It's still through a video screen unless you're going to visit them, but then you have to take the time out of your day to go and do that. It's great and it's negative at the same time.
Yeah. I feel like it forces you to face your true self versus someone else's true self. There's no barriers in between because, like you said, you're not hanging out as friends, shopping or going to the movies or whatever. It's just purely talking. That's all you got.
Yeah. Yep. You got it.
I find the connection can be that much deeper, but like you said, it would be that much harder to find someone that you can connect to on that level.
I feel like I lucked out. I don't know what I did to align those stars right, but yeah.
You found a good pen pal.
I did.
So what kind of conversations do you guys have that you would say is different?
I'm a bit of a talker.
Okay.
So I'll talk to anyone and anything about anyone and anything if I'm curious, right? And interacting with him is kind of the same way. Although I feel like, if anything, it's the little things that happen within my day. If I have a good interaction with somebody at work or there's something funny that happened, I definitely try to highlight those things because we spoke about it as well, where I'll ask him like, hey, what did you do today? What have you got going on? And he works maintenance, so he does come into some very shitty situations every once in a while. But,
oh no.
so he'll talk about that, but he said to me, I'm in here. My schedule doesn't change. My life doesn't change. I get up, go to work, work out, eat my food, go to bed, watch some TV. He's like, you're the one that's living the life. I want to hear about that. I want to know what's going on with you. I want to have an escape sometimes, and my escape is with you when you're telling me something that happened at work or what's going on with your best friend or cat or or stuff like that. Yes.
Have you ever had people that don't understand when you tell them about the pen pal?
Yes. There are two people in my life out of everybody that are a little bit more skeptical about it. And it's just more so a protection of me thing.
Okay.
It's not that I'm interacting with somebody incarcerated or they necessarily think he's a bad person or anything like that. It's just more like, are you sure that this is what you should be doing for yourself? And I tell them, yes, it is. I want to talk to them. It's not because they've heard about the different scams and everything that goes on sometimes in a dynamic like this. And I'm like, I'm not sending them any money. I might load up my own phone every once in a while, but he looks after me, honestly. And I think that's a show in itself that I don't really need to worry about that.
Right.
And slowly they've come around just a little bit more and more and more, but they remind me to think about the logistics of it all sometimes. So it is good to have somebody that understands and doesn't judge, but still has my best interests and might try to tell me, hey, are you sure you're not looking at it with rose-colored glasses and you're not missing anything out here?
Yeah.
So I do respect them for that actually a lot.
Me too. I have friends like that as well. And I do appreciate and respect them for being able to be open with and honest with me, because I mean, that's a real friend, right? You aren't always going to agree. So lucky for you, Ricky does have an out date, so he will be coming home. What are your hopes for him when he does get home?
I want him to do well. And I know that's a very vague statement, but he has been through a lot. He has endured a lot. He's lived a life, honestly. And I think he struggles with that every day, from being separated from people that he really cares about, and the small moments and the growing that he misses with all of that. And just even in day-to-day interactions, it's not the same keeping up with somebody in prison, even if you do talk to them every day. So I just want him to do and feel good about getting out and being able to rebuild, because he's a very smart man.
Yeah.
And he's a very capable man. I think sometimes emotions and negative thoughts and stuff like that hold him down. And I really want him to know that he is enough, and he always will be enough, and he can do it. And I just want him to be able to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
I believe in him.
Has it changed the way that you see people that are incarcerated?
I think I'm a little bit more lenient.
Yeah.
And I always have been.
Right.
On the fact that everyone has a story. Obviously, if people do bad things, they need to be maybe taken out of society for them to have that time to learn. You can't do that. But I would say it's more so, I've always just wondered what somebody's story is.
Yeah.
There's always a story to something. And I always want to know what led to this, what's going on.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's necessarily changed the way that I look at it, because I've always had that interest or that understanding.
Yeah.
But if anything, it's just broadened my horizons of what some of those stories could be. Because everyone makes mistakes, right?
Yeah. I love that. That's a great answer. It's like it reaffirmed everything you already knew. That's cool.
Yeah, basically.
So I imagine, and I know from my experience of being very far away, it's not like you can go visit. How have you figured out and gone through the challenges that arise from being long distance and not being able to meet in person?
So to get a better grasp on his reality before he went to prison and what his home is like and what life is like where he is, I actually did go down twice to Idaho. And I have another trip planned. Technically, it's to Yellowstone, but we're staying in Island Park, which is in Idaho. So when he talks about, like the Walmart that's by the car wash or the school or stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, I know where that is. Or it'd be like, when he would tell me a story, like, oh, we used to go to the hot springs. It's like, oh yeah, I remember taking that road to the hot springs, which is very privileged of me, because I know that not everyone can do that, to have the freedom and the time off of work to actually go down there and experience his life. But that helps an awful lot, because we don't have the privilege of being together. So in certain ways, I've tried to close the gap.
When I first met my husband, one of the trips that I went down, I also went to see his childhood home and stuff, and it just meant a lot to him. And it was cool. It was a really cool experience to be able to know that he'd been there 20 years before.
Yeah, he sent me a whole itinerary. It was great.
Very cool. And how would you say this whole experience has changed you?
I don't know if I can even imagine what my life was like before this. Honestly, I was thinking about it the other day, and it was like just having that support system and having someone to talk to, and just learning about what life is like for somebody else and their experiences, and their inputs and their point of view. And the fact that we're from 2 different countries too, it gives us an awful lot to discuss.
Yeah.
I feel like I have learned so much from everything combined. And even if down the road things don't work out necessarily the way that I think they will work out, I feel like I have gained so much knowledge. My mom has a saying, you've gained a tool for your tool belt for future things down the road.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's definitely the case with this as well. I've learned something that can help somebody at some point in time. Or
when Ricky comes home, would you consider doing this thing again and getting another pen pal?
I think they would have to fit what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
It would definitely be person dependent, because it does take up an awful lot of time, money, and stuff like that. Because I have thought about taking on a second pen pal in the past as well, just from things that I've learned experience-wise that I'd like to brighten somebody else's day.
Yeah.
And that can be an awful lot, even just having 2 that I'm really trying to invest in. It makes it quite hard. Yeah, but down the line, yeah, I think it would depend on situations and stuff like that. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I would want to go in being 100% available to talk to them, because I definitely think the only thing worse than not having someone to talk to is having that and holding on to that for a bit and then just disappearing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It'd be awful. Would you recommend other people to do it? And what would be some boundaries that you've learned?
Ricky and I have discussed this.
Okay.
There are a lot of Facebook groups, a lot of drama, a lot of false information, but there are an awful lot of good people out there. So we have discussed strategies, and hopefully we would like to at some point get our own platform or get our own Facebook group or something along the lines of that, to be able to promote the good and warn about the not so good.
Yeah.
Because I would recommend it 100%. But there's certain things that you need to walk in there knowing. And I don't think walking in there blind is the best thing for you to do. From somebody who did walk in blind, I feel like I've learned an awful lot. There's a lot of scams. There's an awful lot of using. There's an awful lot of love bombing. I could go on.
Yeah.
But the trade-off for that is finding someone like Ricky. So, yeah, we've definitely discussed how to help other people with that exact same thing, because it's a great place and it's also a very toxic place for sure.
Ricky went into it on the interview and he did such a great job of explaining it from their perspective and how they see it. Because for one, I've interviewed a lot of people, quite a few people from his state, and that state is known as the worst in terms of scams. And they're very well known as taking advantage of people. But I completely agree with you on everything. And you went in naive. I went in naive as well. I don't know if it's a Canadian thing or what, but I was so dumb. You thought about a P.O. box? I didn't. I gave him my address right then and there. It was like, here you go. You can have my address. No big deal. Yeah. And my husband is like, you are so lucky that you met me because you're so naive. And I'm like, yeah, but I feel like I am naive, but I don't think I would ever be able to give someone money or whatever. I don't think I would go that far, but I would believe people when they speak. And yeah, it's a running joke. My husband's like, you're blessed that God gave you me, because you would have been in real trouble if you met someone else. I'm like, thanks.
No, exactly. Ricky's like, I could have told you anything if you think about it. And because you have no experience on the system.
Yeah.
Right. But we've learned some of it together. So that definitely helps as well. Like when I'm learning, he's learning.
Yeah.
But yeah, the naive thing, 100%. I get that.
I think you gave a good, well-rounded experience on being in a pen pal relationship and what kind of person you were. So it gets people to understand a little bit better about what kinds of people reach out to pen pals and build pen pal relationships.
Yeah, like it can be anybody.
And then
it doesn't take anything special.
Yeah, exactly. And interestingly, after your guys' episode, the next interview that I've scheduled is with someone who runs a pen pal page and has had a lot of experience and goes through a lot of the do's and don'ts and expectations and goes into depth to that. So it's really cool because your interview is the intro to it, and then she's going to go and talk about her experience dealing with both sides. Well, thank you so much, Anna.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Have a good night. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Thanks.